Hello friends, my name's Emile, and welcome back to some more Need for Speed Underground. Today we're continuing on with our Let's Play. This is episode 2, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the rookie tournament and maybe some other races depending on how long this lasts, because I'd kind of like to keep these episodes around 20 minutes. Anyways.
Know who Eddie is, don't you? TJ can get you mods that will give you a chance against Eddie and his boys.
Okay, right, so learning from the lessons we learned last time, I think I'm just going to go for medium. For these races, just because I don't want to have too much hassle constantly restarting them and so on. So I will just go for medium. We'll see how that plays out. I may increase the difficulty later on. Honestly, money in this game isn't too hard to come by anyways. Like, if you play it on, even if you play it on easy, it's not even that bad, so yeah, I'm not too worried about money. Anyways, we have a bunch of MX-5s showing up to this event, so that's interesting. There we go, we get a very good launch there, actually, which is good. And yeah, so basically the tournaments are, well, as the name would suggest, really. 3 races, usually, and it just basically counts the points that you get in the races, and the winner is the guy who's got the most points at the end. You get the most points by winning, you get the least points by losing. Pretty self-explanatory, really. So yeah, I mean, the tournament races, again, they're a pretty decent way to make money, actually. Ooh, okay, that's not really what I wanted to do, but there you go. It does happen sometimes. Of course, as soon as I try and take, like, an interesting route, I just utterly destroy myself on a post. That sounds about right. Anyways, as I was supposed to be discussing last time when it comes to the start cars, the MX-5 is probably the best handling, mostly due to the fact it's rear-wheel drive, or at least what the game would say is best handling. Now, Need for Speed games, when they say best handling, usually means the most responsive, which doesn't always mean it's the best handling. The MX-5, for me, I've driven it a few times. It's a little bit skittish for my liking, personally. It's a very light car. The Neon is the fastest accelerating, I believe, out of all of the cars here. It's the best for the drag races, hence why Clutch uses it. The GTI is the most well-rounded, and I believe from there the Civic is slightly more orientated towards handling, and the Peugeot is slightly more orientated towards speed. So yeah, basically, the Civic and the 206 are sort of tweener vehicles with a little bit of an advantage over one another. The Golf is the most well-rounded, the MX-5 is the best handling, and the Neon is the fastest accelerating. That's essentially the way that works, in case you were curious. And if you're just starting the game out, all the cars are pretty solid choices. These first few races, provided you don't make too many idiot mistakes like I usually do, they aren't too bad. So no matter what car you go with, you should be relatively fine. You know, even if you go with a Civic, which in my opinion you probably shouldn't do because it's the most expensive starter car of the bunch. Yeah, again, I went with it just because I really like the SI Civic. If you really like the SI Civic, then go for it. Go for whatever car you like the most. If you like the Dodge Neon the most, you go for the Neon. I was kind of tempted to go for the Neon, to be honest with you. Just because it's something a little bit different. We may use a Neon later on in the game, although I wouldn't keep your hopes up. But yeah, I have a rough idea of what I'm doing when it comes to cars. Anyways, so there you go. Of course, we earn the maximum points because we kind of won the race, and we move on to the next race, wherever that's going to be headed to. One thing with the tournaments is that they're always the same races over and over again. It's not like you do a circuit race, then a sprint race, then a drift race. You know, all the tournaments are either like this one, which is all circuit races, or they're all sprint races, or all drag races, or whatever it may be. Is it bad that I actually kind of like that MX-5 next to us as well? But yeah, so I'll get on to sort of the cars and the car list and how sort of car storing works in this game later on in the game. I will say it's got a pretty interesting way of doing the whole getting a new car and so on. It's a really cool idea. I much prefer it to the way it works in Underground 2. So I'll show you guys what that's all about when it comes time to swap cars, which I'm not looking to do for at least a couple of episodes. because I kind of want to sort of raise up the ranks. I want to unlock some more interesting sort of visual bits and so on before I even think about swapping cars. So we are going to keep the Civic for a little bit as well because, again, I like the Civic. It's a cool car. I really like the SI Coupe. This game is sort of the game that made me fall in love with the EK9 Civic. Just something about it, man. I really, really like this car. I really like the hatchback. I really like the coupe. I cannot choose between them, which one I prefer. I'd be happy with either. So, yeah, this is the game that made me really, really like the Civic Coupe. Just because it's a really cool looking car, to be honest with you. And this is the car that I always picked growing up. So, yeah, it does bring back a couple of memories driving this car around. Anyways, you may notice, as I said in the first episode, sort of keep a note of this circuit track. Well, yeah, we've done it quite a few times. The game will get to a point where it starts giving us fresh circuits and so on. But it does try and sort of reuse as much as it can of the map at all times. Again, no free roaming in the original Underground. Although, people are working on mods to get free roam working. I'm not actually too sure what the modding community is like on this game. I haven't explored it particularly much. Oh, bollocks. That was not a smart thing to do. Then again, the MX-5 has also not done a smart thing. Jesus Christ, he managed to flip a car onto its roof. Anyways, it's a neck-and-neck race between the good-looking MX-5, in my opinion, and the Civic. So, yeah, I asked my buddy Thunder what the modding community for Underground's like. He said it's not too bad. It's not quite as good as Underground 2 Most Wanted, because those games were a little bit more popular with modders, but he says it isn't too bad, so I'll take his word for it. But yeah, people are trying to create free roam mods. I really wish they would, because it's a pretty interesting city once you see a bit more of it. Anyways, there you go again, we win, we get the maximum amount of points, and we head into the next and assumedly final race, because most of these tournaments are usually 3 races. I think some of them, as you get on, may turn into 4, although I'm not too sure whether they do or not. Anyways, as we wait for a loading screen, as we head on to the final race, of course, here we go. Get in the zone, the auto zone, yeah. Maybe the front-wheel drive cars just get slightly better off-the-line grip than the rear-wheel drives. Because I think I've got a head start on the MX-5s the entire time we've gone through this. So yeah. Anyways, I do hope that free roam mod, they really start to make them better because, well, I'd like to explore the city. It looks pretty darn interesting. You know, to be fair, Underground 2 wasn't even originally supposed to be free roam either. That sort of happened more by accident halfway through the game. It was like, hey, we could make this city open up and be free roam and stuff. And it was like, yeah, why not do that? And that's sort of how Underground 2 became a free roaming game and what it is today. So, yeah, it does kind of surprise me they never had those plans for this game, to be honest with you, because the city is pretty darn well detailed, to be honest with you. As you can see, you know, sort of around here, it's very bright, it's a very vibrant city. Despite not being free roam, it's still more alive than NFS 2015 city, certainly, i.e. there's actually stuff going on in this city, which is cool. Anyways, let's go into here. So you may notice this is a slightly different track again. This is another track that they do use with relative frequency at the start of this game. You may have noticed the cut through the construction site and those sort of little ramps. They do get kind of irritating because you can't really see traffic over the ramps. The construction site, though, is a pretty interesting shortcut. You know, the shortcuts in this game are actually pretty good. They sort of really make you think whether it's worth it or not. You know, sometimes there is like a clear-cut shortcut where it's like, yeah, if you go this way, it's faster. But, you know, with all the elevation changes and the amount that you could lose control in the construction site, you've really got to weigh up whether, you know, it's actually worth going through there or not. It's a pretty interesting sort of way of doing it. Whoa. Okay, we might not win this final race because that was... Jeez, that was a hell of a loss of control. I mean, we did get a lot of style points from that at least, which I guess is some sort of a silver lining. We'll probably end up losing this race, but it doesn't really matter because, of course, we do have the lead in championship points, which is good. yeah, I don't think there's... No. The AI can take corners pretty darn quickly in this game, which you will see later on. It's a slightly strange. Their driving habits are very erratic, let's put it that way. Anyways, unfortunately, we may trail home in last place, but overall we do win the championship. 5,000 in the bank, level 1 engine exhaust, level 1 drivetrains, and level 1 tyre packages are all available for our Civic now, which is cool. We'll definitely put them to good use in a later episode. Okay, next up we got TJ's time trial. Let's do this.
Beautiful, ain't it? I gave him the edge, and they blew it. You think you're better? Prove it. And maybe I'll help you out.
Look, kid, you show me you deserve it, and I've got upgrades for you. But once you
Alright.
install them, you keep it.
Get from the airport to downtown core in 1:45 and see what TJ has in store for you. Alright. So, as you can see, depending on difficulty, you can either make the time shorter or longer. I'm probably going to go... Let's just go easy. I mean, okay, sure, it's taking the easy way out and taking some of the challenge out of it, but at the same time, I mean, what, I lose 25 credits? Like, I'm not too fussed about doing that, to be honest with you. Anyways, as we line up on the line with our Civic, and away we go. Another reason why I sort of selected the lower time limit is because I haven't done any sort of upgrades to this car yet. Now, I believe I've tried... This time trial is very difficult on hard. On medium, it isn't too bad if you've got a fully upgraded car, but as I haven't even started upgrading the car yet, I do not think it would be a good idea to do this on the hardest difficulty. And again, we lose like 25 credits, so I'm not particularly fussed. Anyways, these time trials do pop up every now and again. It's basically a sprint race from one side of the city to the other. Get there in the correct amount of time, and usually you get some pretty cool rewards. For example, on this one, we get a unique upgrade, which is cool. And you do get a couple of the unique upgrades as you go through the game. You get quite a few different chances at them, so yeah, you can really make your car very, very quick with them. Although, of course, to not overpower you, they don't... at least I don't think you can earn every single individual bit in the game, although maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not too sure, to be perfectly honest with you. I've never actually completed the original Underground. I've gotten very, very close to it. People who watched the Underground Let's Play stream that I tried to do will recognise the fact that I think I got within touching distance of the finish line, and then everything went to hell, like I lost my PlayStation and so on, so... Yeah, unfortunately I was never able to finish the game, but I can now. Oh wow, I would have actually beaten the time limit on hard. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever managed to do that before. Anyways, 100 in the banks, a sprint track, and TJ has agreed to modify our car with a unique performance upgrade. So yeah, I'll definitely take a unique performance upgrade. So we have a choice of engine exhaust, drivetrain package, or tyres. Now... I think I'm going to go engine and exhaust. Yeah, because this car could do with a bit more straight line speed, and I figured that would help it out. Anyways, the Atlantica Challenge. Let's do this race. What is this? Show your stuff against 3 hot hatchbacks in a 3-lap race through Atlantica. Let's go to medium for this, and see how well we do. When it comes to the Atlantica Challenge, which is actually a pretty cool name for something. Anyways, pretty cool looking Acura RS6 in the background there. That is one of the cars I definitely want to get my hands on in this game because I really like the RSX. So, yeah. Anyways, what have we got? A Focus, a Golf, my Civic, and another Golf. Okay, take 2. I literally... I'm starting to get reminded of why this game is a little bit frustrating. Basically what I did is, I will admit it's my fault, I hit one of these pillars on the last lap that allowed a few cars to overtake me. At that point I sort of got in the lead again, and then towards the end I basically lost the back end of the car, and Golf beat me by 0.09 seconds, which is a little bit infuriating because this game, it can get underneath your skin a bit. And the driving physics, they're okay. They're not amazing though, so... I mean, maybe that's what the stability control's for, to make the game actually feel a little bit more consistent. Yeah, but I don't really want to turn it on, because I'm assuming... you can't all be positive. It's surely got to make some other effect to the car. And also having the stability control on basically means that it's a bit harder to get the style points. Yeah. Also, I may have banked some style points by winning that. Oh, sorry, by actually doing that race. I would have restarted it as soon as the Golf overtook me. The problem is it was literally at the line, so I really didn't have a chance to do that. So I did bank some style points. I only banked 1,200 though, so don't worry too much about that. Anyways, what was I saying? Yes. So one cool thing about Underground 1 is that it will actually adjust the AI cars around you performance to your vehicle, which is pretty interesting. So basically what I mean by that is that if you're having sort of issues later on in the game controlling the higher powered vehicles, then you can revert them back to stock, and the AI cars will do the same. You know, they'll adjust around your performance requirements, which is pretty cool. It can actually help out as well in the later races, should you need it to. So for example, if you're finding a race really difficult because the AI are quick, you can sort of slow your car down. I mean, sure, it won't make the AI cars slower than your car, but it will adjust them to around that level, so you can then go from there and find the cars more controllable, which should make the race easier to win. Hopefully we don't have to revert to that in this game. Should I need to though, I will of course do that. So yeah, there you go. Anyways, as we sort of cut through some more construction site. Again, construction site is a decent shortcut on this track, because sort of, if it takes more effort to go around the shortcut than to go through it, you probably should take the shortcut. But if it's sort of out of reach, then I probably wouldn't recommend it. There's a few shortcuts in this game as well that are tricks. We'll get into those later on into the game, because yeah, some of those, you know, they sort of trick you into going to them, but they're either slower than going the normal route, or have a lot more obstacles to hit in there. And again, I've always said you really should sort of weigh up the gamble. Anyways, let's try not to lose control over this bit. Indeed I didn't. That's cool. Go through the water, and there we go, across the line. Alright, I can win races. See, sometimes I can win races. Anyways, we fill the style point gauge up. We get the Radio Shack X mod vinyl. We get 750 credits, and we also unlock the 2003 Ford Focus and the Atlantica circuit track, which is pretty good going. And I do actually really like the Focus. So yeah, anyways, there is another tournament, but we'll get into that in the next episode, I think. So, yeah, as always, thank you all very much for watching. Mine's been the Real Emile. Until next time, farewell.